Hey everyone, my name is Robin Barnes, and I'm here today with Jay Cicero, the president and CEO of the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation and the host committee, and also with Jon Barker, who is the senior vice president of the global events of the NFL major events. Hello. Hi, guys. So Jay, tell me, what is your role?
Well, our role as a sports foundation is to bid upon and manage major sporting events on behalf of economic development for Louisiana and the city of New Orleans. So I actually lead a team of a staff and a bunch of volunteers to be able to put together competitive bids. And if we win them, we sign all the contracts and we have to go raise all the money necessary to fill all the obligations in the bid and then operationally execute everything that's required for the event. So we're really a private event management company, except that we're nonprofit. We do it on behalf of the city and state.
So super easy job.
Yeah, sometimes.
Well, Jon, what does your day-to-day look like?
It really depends on the day, to be honest with you. I mean, look, there's 22 months of planning that goes into Super Bowl.
Wow.
It starts a little slower, and then it really starts to ramp up about a year out. We work very closely with Jay and his team and staff getting ready. The day-to-day this week, honestly, is just putting out the small fires, dealing with the issues that popped up that we weren't aware of, and just moving the ball forward. That's kind of what the day-to-day is like. In that kind of 22-month period, we're doing everything from securing all of our venues, working on transportation plans, getting the stadium ready, all the hospitality events we do throughout the city, all the work that we do on our community events and charity events as well. So there's a lot that goes into Super Bowl, and we really rely on Jay and his team down here to help us and guide us and work with us all the way through it.
I love that. So let's dive in a little bit more about the working relationship. So you have two different entities that are coming together to basically host one of the greatest events in the world. Tell me more about that.
You know, it's really different. It's different from city to city. Sometimes you go to a city like Los Angeles that hadn't had a Super Bowl in 30 years, and that's a different host committee, so there's more of an education there. But when you come to New Orleans, you have Jay, and you have Jay's team who knows Super Bowl and understands Super Bowl, and it's a really complex, difficult thing to produce. It takes a lot of work and a lot of understanding, and the benefit of coming back to New Orleans for the 11th time is that we've got a city that understands Super Bowl. You're built for hosting major events. You've got the infrastructure for major events. You have a community that loves hosting major events, and you have people here who understand what it takes, and they can then educate the rest of the city and the state to prepare them for what hosting a Super Bowl is like. And that's where Jay comes in, and that partnership is as important as any partnership that we have, for sure.
I love that. Jay.
It is truly a partnership, I can tell you that. I mean, we have specific staff people and committees assigned to each one of their departments to handle whatever the needs are, whatever our commitments were, and the bid to host the event. And over the years of leading up to it, you know, once they get through the year before us, which was Las Vegas last year, you know, they're all in on New Orleans, and you really create a great, not only working relationship, but friendship and trust level, because it is a very difficult event, as Jon is describing. And there are so many details that you have to really perfect or strive for perfection, and hopefully get excellence on everything that we have to do as a host city. But when you sit in the meetings with the NFL and their staff and their vendors, these are hundreds of people that are on these calls. We do it daily now. The level of detail and the level of professionalism that they have and the level of creativity that they bring to the table is really second to none. Look, this is my fourth Super Bowl. I've done 4 men's Final Fours.
This is your fourth Super Bowl.
Fourth Super Bowl. 4 women's Final Fours, a couple of WrestleManias, all kinds of bowl games, everything. We've done it forever. Working with the NFL, there's nothing like it.
I love when learning more about this, and what viewers are seeing as well, is there's so much that people don't realize that goes into the planning and the execution and then the operations, and it's all just for this little stint of time, but it takes so much commitment, so much planning, putting out fires. I mean, it is amazing what y'all do, for sure. Talk a little bit about what's different this Super Bowl than from the last in 2013.
It's grown quite a bit, for one thing. There were, as far as the number is concerned, there were 5,205. I remember the number, credentialed media in 2013. There's over 6,000 this year.
Oh, wow.
Here in 2025. the number of special events has grown, the number of NFL partners has grown. So when they bring on new sponsors and partners and vendors and folks that travel the Super Bowl every year, that means there's more special events that are going to be taking place in the city. And, you know, our venues are full, our caterers are very busy, our entertainers like you are incredibly busy. And you know, what's been great is, you know, we had to think about, well, what are we going to do differently than we did in 2013? Yeah. We really leaned into the history of Super Bowl New Orleans and, of course, our unique culture. New Orleans is all about history and culture, and the NFL took that and ran with it, starting with Queen Taj and the creation of the game logo.
Amazing.
And just every piece of the way they have leaned into our unique culture, and they love all this history that we talk about with the game here.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And to your earlier point, we don't want people to know what it takes, because that's not the point of it, right? We're creating a week of escapism in a way, allowing people to immerse themselves in the experience at Super Bowl. So I don't want people to ever think what all of this takes. I just want them to be proud of it and enjoy it. And to Jay's earlier point, it has grown in size. And I think if you go back, you'll see that the focus really was on the game. And that's where it should always be. But we started to kind of create the circles around that. And we've really started to focus on that as well, making sure that it's a full week and it's programmed that way, that the impact of Super Bowl is accessible. You may not have a ticket to the game on Sunday, but you can become part of Super Bowl with all the accessibility that we have, whether that was opening night, Monday night at the stadium, what we're doing here at Super Bowl Experience right next door. All of those pieces are built to make Super Bowl accessible to everybody. And then the second part of that, and Queen Taj is a great example of this, is we don't want this to feel like the NFL came, they brought the Super Bowl, they dropped it in our backyard, we did it, and then they left. This is about your community. This is about New Orleans Super Bowl. It needs to feel like New Orleans Super Bowl, because we're really proud of it, and we want this community to feel like they own it and that they can be proud of it. And that's something we worked on for the last 5 years, really weaving the culture in. And Queen Taj is a great example, right? We have never had anybody other than our own creative department design the logo for Super Bowl. Awesome. This year is the first time we did it, and to have Queen Taj part of that is just that it's one small step on all the things that we do to involve the community at Super Bowl.
That definitely goes into my next question. So obviously we know with New Orleans and the culture and the history, but what else makes New Orleans such a unique host city?
You know, there's not a lot of places like New Orleans, Louisiana. You know, there's great cities in the United States, places I go and love and I visit, but New Orleans has a different character. It's a different place. You go to New Orleans for an experience.
Yes.
Because it's simply different, right? And a good different. And yes, food, and yes, culture, and yes, music and all those things, but the people of New Orleans are special. And they make you feel special when you're here. And like I said, you can go to any city in the United States and visit for a reason. When you come to New Orleans, you feel like you've stepped into a different place. I think that's just really, really cool. I emigrated to the United States in the early 80s, and we went to Pennsylvania. But before we did that, we came over for a trip. The first place we came was New Orleans. My dad, living in a little village in London, outside of London, wanted to experience New Orleans, so we came here first. Yeah, it was really cool.
What was your favorite dish?
Well, I will say this, and I will admit this. I've never had gumbo before. Jay and I went out to dinner the other night. He introduced me to real gumbo, as they called it.
Yes.
It was, I went back the next night, by the way. I didn't tell you. I went back the next night, sat at the bar, and had 2 bowls of gumbo.
Baby.
Is that good? Baby.
So I have to ask another question. Was it seafood?
No, it was sausage. Sausage.
Jay, you got to do better. We got to have them do both.
That's funny, because I've been asking people. It's a thing. It's a real thing, right?
It was good.
Seafood versus sausage. It's a thing. I understand.
I'm a seafood gumbo.
Understood. I've only been on one side of it, so.
Okay.
All right. You tell me what's meant to go.
I'm an Oprah gumbo. That's what my mom used to make it. Yeah.
But I don't know about the. Yeah. It's fine. We love it all. We love it.
All right.
We have a little something for everyone.
All right. Yeah.
So tell me about the success on the 10th day, the day after the Super Bowl has been finished and it's done. What does that mean for the city? What does it mean for the NFL?
I think it starts with being proud of what we've done. I think you walk away in the city feeling good about what's just happened. You know, we've got an opportunity for New Orleans on a global stage, and we plan to shine a very, very big, bright light on New Orleans. You're right. What is the next day about? And it's what's the next week about, and what's the next year about, and all those things. We want other large events to see what's happened here and say, oh, absolutely, we should go to New Orleans and host it. They did the Super Bowl. They can host us. Let's go. That's what we want. We have a program called The Source. The Source is a program that brings minority and diverse-owned businesses into the Super Bowl family. And it's not just about getting a contract. It's about education and how to RFP and how to get involved. And we've built a directory. And when we leave, Jay's going to keep that directory. So when the next event comes in, that will be there for them. So yeah, Sunday is going to be a great success. But all the things that happen after Sunday for this city because of Super Bowl, that's where the real focus should be.
No, that's what I'm talking about, a lasting impression.
There you go.
That's amazing. What about you, Jay?
Well, I like to say it takes a lot of hard work, understanding, expertise, and flexibility to make it look so easy. It's not so easy, but like you said, we don't want people to focus on how hard it is. We want them to come and enjoy this. I thought that was great, a great line. But success for us is about making sure that our family, which is the NFL first and foremost, our sponsors, our committee members, everyone who had a huge role in making this happen, feel like we've done something really good. And that legacy that Jon was talking about, we did our Impact 59 powered by Entergy legacy program, which is the legacy program that the NFL brings to each Super Bowl city. We raised $3.5 million and gave it away to 65 nonprofits in the 10 parish area. And so the NFL, the New Orleans Saints, Venture Global, Oshner, NOLA Coalition, United Way, all of us work together with Entergy to make that happen. And, that's a legacy that people don't often see, but we're celebrating it this week. And, the 65 nonprofits, that's a lot of nonprofits to be able to help with funding. And $3.5 million is a big number. Now, there were $77 million in requests. and it's over 700 requests overall.
Wow.
So we had to narrow that down. It was a lot harder than I thought. Look, we're not used to giving money away. Maybe a foundation in the sports foundation's name, but we're not a foundation that gives away money. So it's fascinating to me to sit with professionals who do this all the time,
right?
To figure out how to which organizations to choose out of everyone that so deserved to be involved, but not everyone did.
Yeah.
And so, it was fascinating when we did that. We used to beg them for money, not giving it away. So it's way different. It's way different for us. But that was really fascinating for me. But so there's so many other things. The legacy of of the Superdome, $560 million renovation. And over 4 years, maybe 4.5 years that it took to get it done in the off season because Saint seasons. That's a legacy in itself that people aren't thinking about. We'll have the Super Bowl, but every event, every Essence Festival, every Bayou Classic, every New Orleans Bowl, every Sugar Bowl, high school championships, obviously every Saints game. That's a legacy of the expanded use and a better venue for the fans. Mm-hmm. All the street repairs and everything's been done in the French Quarter in preparation for Super Bowl. Super Bowl is the one event that brings everybody together. It focuses them in on a date. We got to get stuff done. Although some of it was, although some of it was a little late. We're
not moving deadlines. That's for sure. Kicking the ball.
The game's going to happen. You got to get stuff done, and people rally behind it. And so, it's a very powerful event, even outside of just the economic impact associated with it.
Well, you've heard it. This is an amazing event. We already knew it's one of the largest in the world to happen. But the fact that not only is it something that is leaving an impression economically, it's leaving an impression in everyone's hearts, and it's more about the experience for you. So you learned about how it's happened, but just remember, it's all about you enjoying every single moment. So I hope you've enjoyed. We've had Jon Barker and Jay Cicero with us today. Have a great day.
The host committee would like to thank our founding partners, Entergy and Chevron, our sponsors, Each of these companies plays an integral role in the overall success of the New Orleans Super Bowl Host Committee. We couldn't do it without you.